That is the hardest part of that ring.
For the hardest part of the ring. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the hardest part of the ring.
Hello and welcome to episode 180 of Hardest Part of the Ring, the podcast where four friends get together to celebrate the wonder of professional wrestling. My name is Adam and I'm joined by the full house, that is Sam.
Heyo.
John.
Hello.
And surprise, very special guest, it's Brett.
Hello.
Yes, Brett.
I'm still alive.
Did you guys see recently on TNA, no, not on TNA because no one watches TNA, on Slammiversary, AJ Styles had a cameo.
I heard about this.
I'd read it, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But I do want to see it because of Speedball's match.
Apparently it was very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Brett being on Hardest Part Pod is like AJ being on TNA in 2022.
When's the last time we had all four of us on a pod? I'm trying to work that out. When's the last time you podded,
Mania?
Brett?
April.
Mania.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't pod in May at all.
Okay, you took May off completely.
Yeah. And a good chunk of June apparently as well.
Yeah. And then we took a slightly longer break than normal. But we're back and we're here to finish a segment. What do we call it? What do we call this? A segment? It's not a segment. It's like a... What do we call this?
Follow the Feud.
Yeah, but what they called...
Finish a mini-series?
Mini-series. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Sam. Yeah, a mini-series. That was
a long
started
segment.
On episode 141. A long, long time ago. It's Follow the Feud. And we're going to talk about all of that good stuff in a minute. Well, let's have a little catch up because we haven't had all four of us together. Any big news? Anything exciting happening? We got some personal news from Sam before this, but we won't go into that. We'll just let the listeners speculate. That's fun though if we just leave it as personal news, Sam, because then it could be something really crazy. Like
Could be something good.
Yeah.
It could be something good. It could also be something terrible.
Oh,
He's
really
lost the
bad.
The
beard.
crushing low. Yeah.
The beard never goes. Have you seen my chin? Because like, if I shave off my beard, I can't see my chin. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's the only reason I have a beard as well.
Right?
I don't think I've seen any of your chins. Although Brett used to shave occasionally. I
Yeah.
think I saw Brett's chin once.
I used to let a beard grow and then shave it when I was bored and then let it grow again and shave because I couldn't be asked to shave regularly.
Yeah.
Do you
That
guys
was weird.
remember that time Adam tried to grow a beard?
Oh yeah, was that
During
lockdown?
lockdown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
looked pretty good.
I was quite happy with it, actually. I wasn't, but I was happy I got the opportunity to try. I'd always
It
wanted
was
to
good
try.
that you tried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried my best. Right, there you
Yeah.
go. That's the banter section of the podcast where we catch up with each other. The last podcast episode we did was a review of AEW Double or Nothing, which was a mixed bag, wasn't it?
It was all right. It was just too long.
Yeah. AEW, I mean, we try and not make these too topical or time sensitive, but fuck it. AEW's kind of a bit of a mess, is it, at the moment, with injuries leading into Forbidden Door and...
It maybe feels like Forbidden Door has come up a little bit too soon in relation to Double or Nothing, and they've not had enough of a build into it, but it's kind of a weird one at the moment, because at the moment, all of the wrestling news in the world seems to be on everything but the wrestling.
Yeah, that's very true. And we were talking about whether or not we'd referenced the big news about Vince, but we're going to be talking about the Authority. We're going to be talking about Steph, so no doubt that will come up at some point. Let's focus on what we're here to do today, which is the final episode of Follow the Feud. And this is, of course, Daniel Bryan versus the Authority. But before we get to that, let's have the little Follow the Feud jingle, because I put a lot of effort into that a while back. And here it is.
The fact is, Rock, you got the WWF title, and I want it. You have become the New York Yankees. You're going to be damaged good, just like Elizabeth. You don't listen to the Yes Movement.
I will never fight my own flesh and blood.
Sean, you were in on that? Fucking idea. I got no place. God is my fucking witness. Follow the Feud.
So Daniel Bryan versus the Authority. We've already had 5 episodes. If you haven't listened to any of them, then I don't know. Do you reckon there might be some people who have skipped all the episodes and they're focusing on this because this is the main event? These are the big matches that make this feud, basically. What do you reckon, John? Be a bit sad, wouldn't it?
Maybe. Like Stan Lee always said, like, every comic's someone's first comic. Maybe this is someone's first ever episode of Hardest Part of the Ring.
Oh, dear. Well, that could be the case. But I would heartily recommend you go and listen to the previous episodes. We had episode 141 was the prologue, episode 143, Anger Management, 152, the Orr Trilogy, 170, All in the Family, and 178, Road to WrestleMania. This is episode 180, which quite a small gap between the recent Follow the Feud episodes, which is good. It's episode 6, the final of the mini-series. It's titled The Culmination, and we're going to go to John right now.
Right, so final episode, this is it. All we're talking about is WrestleMania 30. There's 2 matches we're talking about. First match and the last match. So
this is big.
This is big. This has a lot of emotional impact for me personally. Like, it got me back into wrestling, this main event. And this whole pay-per-view is pretty stellar. But we're only talking about those 2 matches because there's an Undertaking match on this card that we might talk about at some point during the Undertaking if we live to.
Quite a key one.
One day.
So it happened on the 6th of April 2014 from New Orleans. I feel like, in my head, WrestleMania happens in New Orleans a lot. I don't know if it's just...
I feel like recently it's always Texas or LA, but for a while it seemed like it was Texas, LA, and New Orleans. Oh, and occasionally Florida. I don't know. Ignore me.
I'd be interested to know, because I think we've established that I wasn't watching at the time, and I've never watched these matches. So this was quite a big deal to watch this at last, and I'm really pleased that it was the culmination of doing this mini-series hosted by you, John. But what I mean, you guys, how did this fall in your love of wrestling? Like, did this reignited your love, John? But Brett, like, were you watching this? Did you watch it live? Or how did it work for you?
No, I don't think I was watching at this point. I really wasn't around for the Batista era at all. Right. I don't think. So I didn't think I'd seen this, but I must have watched it at some point because I sort of recall it. Yeah. But I didn't think I had seen it like you. I thought this was the first time watching.
Okay. But for you, Sam, you were watching it and loving it and hardcore into it.
Well, yeah, kind of. It was. So I've never really stopped watching wrestling apart from maybe these last 4 or 5 months or so. But like generally, I've always been kind of keeping an eye on it and following the storylines, and kind of like my level of investment in it would kind of ebb and flow with whatever the storylines were. And at this point in time, I was kind of at a bit of a low ebb. I was watching it, but I wasn't really invested in it. And then, like, in the course of about a year or so, it was just like all of a sudden, here is the Wyatt family, here is the Shield, here is Daniel Bryan, here is CM Punk. And, like, Brock Lesnar was still exciting at this point in time. And it was just kind of like, oh, shit, all of a sudden, this has become really exciting. And it felt like Daniel Bryan was very much, for me, the most exciting part of it, because he was the counterculture, anti-authority figure, and it was like all of a sudden the fans are all rebelling against what we're being told, so to speak. And yeah. I was loving that.
John, were you like watching but not into it, and this reignited it, or you just hadn't, or somebody had said you've got to check out Daniel Bryan? Or
I would check in. I'd watch WrestleMania each year. Basically, I'd download a torrent of it and I'd watch it.
Do you know what, John? I actually remember us discussing this WrestleMania at work.
Ooh,
I was shocked to see you were watching it on what should have been a lunch break. Really, it was an extended lunch break. And I was a little bit like...
one of the very few.
I thought you were... I was shocked to see you watching wrestling, and I was just like, oh...
I thought you were a cool dude.
Wrestling.
It's a good thing to hear things didn't really change after I left with the...
Do you know what?
Doing anything but work during work hours.
It wasn't long after this, John and me went to our first wrestling event together.
I just realised I was watching wrestling, but I was watching TNA. Because I just totally dropped out of WWE for a long time. Yeah.
But I was working with John and Sam at that time, and neither of them turned round to me and said, "This is fucking amazing."
Were you?
I must have been.
Yeah.
2014.
No, I think you were freelance at this point.
No, I
think
he
it's
was
just
still
John and
there.
me keeping things going.
Actually, you might. I don't know. Anyway.
Were you the
But
first
yeah.
one to leave that group then, Adam? Well, we were. Yeah, you must
I
have
think
been.
Brett was.
Oh, no, obviously
Brett
was.
left
But-
ages.
Yeah, I was
but then
there before John.
I left. I left just before everything went to shit.
Yeah, and then
Same.
John and me went down with that ship.
I
Good
did,
times,
I did
eh?
not go down with any ship.
Oh, did you not?
No.
Oh, it was just me.
Just you.
Sam went
Captain
guys.
Sam.
down on the ship.
Yeah, I think I remember telling Sam and a friend of ours, like, even when I was leaving, look, you've done your year, start looking for another job.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
It's because we love the people. I've had people say that to me. It's like, you've done like nearly 5 years of Hardest Part of the Ring. Start doing another pod. And I've tried. I've done a few. But I just love the people. I just love the people.
You're doing everything else, but you're just still doing us on the side.
Yeah. Sounds wrong, but yeah.
It was meant how it sounded.
Okay.
What's been weird for me going back and watching this, this is one of those pay-per-views that always had in my head, like, I should go back and watch that because I have this, like, really romanticised view of it in my head, like, but I have never gone back and rewatched it, really. And it's completely different watching it again. Like, in my head, I remember it completely differently.
Interesting.
Really?
Especially the main event, which we'll talk about, obviously.
Do you know what I find fascinating about this WrestleMania is that I almost placed this WrestleMania as a separate event to kind of obviously the big event with The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. Like, in my head, there's like, those are two separate WrestleManias, and they weren't, and that's mad, right?
Yeah. I was surprised when I saw that, actually, because I hadn't realised it was the same thing. It's pretty crazy. Where does this WrestleMania rank in, like, the list of top WrestleManias? Is it up there? Must be.
For me, like, this one, and I think it's the one directly after this, 31, where Seth Rollins cashes in.
Yeah, that's when I was watching. That's when I started watching that WrestleMania.
Those two WrestleManias, I think, are some of the best.
Yeah.
Like, just really top manias with, like, just good matches and good storylines.
Yeah. Anyway,
Let's talk about WrestleMania 30.
I don't care if it's Daniel Bryan, Triple H. You're looking at the next champion. I am the past, the present, and the future. You guys underestimate the power of these people. At WrestleMania, I buried Daniel Bryan.
Boom. Before we start talking about the first match, did everyone watch the opening segment? Little Legends
Hell yeah.
bit?
Yeah.
I not properly. I sort of skipped through, but I saw some bits. I saw some
I
legends.
watched it.
I saw, and they all look good. They all still look good. Maybe not Hulk Hogan, but The Rock looking incredible.
Yeah, so Hulkster comes out, big cheers, he does a bit of talking. Stone
was
Cold.
pre-racism?
Location wrong twice.
Was this
This
pre-racism?
is pre-racism, yeah.
Or pre-racism leak?
I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't pre-racism leak. He was probably always a racist.
Was
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
was it
Hogan.
pre-sex tape and was it Gorka or
Yeah, I think it was pre-sex tape because like this was the big
Oh, and
return for Hulk Hogan.
the Gorka
Oh, dear.
website, that whole
Yeah,
lawsuit.
and then Gorka Media and yeah, all of that.
Okay, so this was a good time for Hulk.
Sure.
So what happened at the start for anybody who hasn't caught up?
So the Hulkster comes out, big pop. He does a bit of talking, blah 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 blah. I don't really like promos, so I wasn't really listening. Then Stone Cold comes out, big pop. He comes down to the ring.
Hold on,
Does a bit-
I'm sorry, Brett. Did you hear that on the previous pod when John basically declared he doesn't like promos?
And
All these
promos.
episodes in, he doesn't like promos.
I just like he wanted to talk about the beginning segment of WrestleMania, and then he says, "I don't like promos." So
Still a good segment. I can appreciate.
That's
a good
okay,
segment.
John. Allow me.
yeah.
Yeah, go on,
Hulk
Sam.
Hogan gets the location
even-
name wrong.
Even if you don't really like the Hulkster, like there were three. I mean, like all you needed is like John Cena out there as well. Like just masters
Could
on
you
the mic.
imagine how much he would get booed?
Oh, yeah,
Like,
well, just his
at one point
mention.
in this promo, The Rock says, and there's a guy out there who wants to have some hustle, loyalty, and respect. The crowd start booing
I
and shouting.
know.
The three biggest wrestlers probably of all time in the ring.
The thing is, I would have been booing at that time as well, because I used to hate John Cena, and now I'm a total fan.
I suppose, like, the thing is that in 2014, you got Hulk Hogan, you got Stone Cold, you got The Rock. Who's the fourth wrestler you put in that ring?
What, promo-wise, or just...
Well,
Ric Flair.
Just like...
I was going to say Ric Flair, yeah.
Yeah, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels.
I kind of feel like Flair... Yeah, Shawn Michaels isn't quite there for me. In terms of the charisma. Yes, the charisma. And it's just his wonky eye. I'm sorry, guys. And I know that's a more recent thing, and I shouldn't really pick on it. But it's ruined his whole career for me by having a eye condition. Let's move on.
That was weird.
It was. I didn't really mean it, but the truth comes out.
Shall we talk about the first match?
Yeah, please. I almost want to delete that.
Right, kicking off the show, match 1 is Daniel Bryan versus Triple H, and the winner of this match would be added to the main event against Batista and Randy Orton. So this is really like the boss fight, the final boss fight. Like the Daniel Bryan, our hero, going against his big baddie at the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania. And just, wow, what I was so convinced that Triple H, by the way, is going to go over in this match, because I thought they were going to set up for an Evolution kind of Triple H, Orton, Batista, triple threat main event, but that entrance, this is peak Triple H.
Oh, yeah, really is. But pretty cool, though.
Pretty cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, yeah. And also because he's looking great, like he's still in great shape.
So, I've noticed here, John, there's a note that says, with some sexy ladies, his daughters.
Yeah, so Triple H is on, like, does the big skull throne thing, lots of gold, some sexy ladies. Fun fact, his daughters.
Ooh, sexy lady.
What are you on about? They're not his daughters.
Okay, they're not his daughters. I thought it'd be funny just to put in there.
You had me worried.
Sam's not having it.
I'm not having it, because this is the first main event appearance of Charlotte, Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss.
No way, is that there?
No way.
Yeah.
I need to go back and look at that, maybe even right now. In fact, I'm just going to Google it.
100%. Yeah.
Well, why?
Sasha,
you guys didn't notice this.
No. I had seen this in an article before, so I knew of it.
Do you say Alexa Bliss?
Yeah, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte, and Sasha Banks, formerly of WWE.
Yeah, Christ, she's been released. That's mental.
Holy shit! Absolutely true story. Oh my god! And it's so blatantly them as well. That's mad. Okay.
That's why I was so shocked by the daughters thing. I thought you meant, like his daughters of NXT or something.
Unbelievable. I'm going to send this. I know this isn't good for a pod, but at least you get live reactions, guys. I'm sending it in the Skype chat now, so Brett and John can see it. Look, it's so clearly them. Give it a little Google. Sasha Banks,
Triple
H, WrestleMania
clearly
30.
them.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I mean, whoever's in the middle, because, like...
Yeah, that could be
anyone. With that robe and that skull mask thing, that could be anyone.
That's true.
It does look like he's trying to cover up an erection with that robe, the way he's covered it. Anyway, so Daniel Bryan comes out. His shoulder is already strapped up from a beat down from Triple H. Check out previous episode or Follow the Feud for more details on that. So when they get to him, there's a nice moment, I think, when Triple H goes for the handshake, the sort of Ring of Honor bit.
Yes.
But Daniel Bryan rolls him up into the pin straight away.
I mean, I absolutely love the whole kind of the grandiose entrance of Triple H juxtaposed with like the just normal entrance of Daniel Bryan. It really sets the stage for a WWE wrestler versus what is essentially a Ring of Honor wrestler.
Yeah. I also, because
the underdog.
Going into this, obviously, it was a bit shit knowing, okay, they've got this first match and Daniel Bryan wins this, but I didn't know anything about the match. So when that roll up happened, I was like, oh, is this? That would be quite cool. And I'm
no
very
way
pleased
Triple H is signing that off, though, is he? Like rolling up in the first few seconds.
That's true. I am pleased we got the match, though, because I really did love it.
This is my favourite Triple H match.
Yeah, it's up there in the conversation, certainly, I think. It's solid. I think he does a really good job of doing, I think, like amping that sort of, like really traditional wrestling, like Harley Race. I can imagine sort of wrestling this sort of match.
Yes. Like, the whole thing about this match is I feel like this is a real generational collide between what I would say is a kind of a more modern day wrestler who kind of uses a lot more kind of MMA stuff in their moves and a much more traditional attitude era style wrestler who's kind of a lot more shoulder blocks and kind of just general striking.
Very cool. Yeah, because Triple H starts early and he's obviously, Daniel Bryan's got a strapped up shoulder, so he targets that. He tries to hit a pedigree on the announce table, but really just ends up just smashing Bryan's shoulder into the desk.
Yeah.
Triple H dominates quite a lot of the match with a lot of like rest holds and sort of really targeting the shoulder.
What's surprising from the off is that it's a proper fucking match. It's not like let's have a bit of a soft match or some sort of dodgy finish to get him into that main event. They have it's 28 minutes or 27 minutes or something.
I thought it was quite a brutal match as well. Like, for Triple H, I guess, because obviously we've seen like Daniel Bryan, leather people.
Yeah.
In
particularly
matches.
a match
but I thought
Triple H
at this time, watching and knowing what's going to happen, it's like they really did. I thought this was a really good match, but it's all story. This WrestleMania 30, this followed the feud. Like the wrestling actually didn't matter at all because story was everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that Triple H is an absolute servant of WWE. He's obviously he's put in 20 plus years. He's still around with it and everything like that. As a wrestler, Triple H is not the best wrestler. He never has been the best wrestler, and he's always got probably a good medium level to him. Like, for lack of a better way of putting it, B+ player when it comes to actual wrestling ability. But he uses his weight and his size and his kind of charisma in this match to an absolute masterclass. He really sells himself as this big final boss villain.
Yeah, I love Triple H. I fucking love
me too actually. And I think the retirement has made me sort of
No, I'm still not I don't hate him as much as I used to, but I decent, but not amazing.
Yeah,
he's for me, apart from his position in the company, like he wouldn't be standing in the ring with the guys that were at the beginning of WrestleMania.
I always think though with Triple H, there's a lot of kind of sentiment of dislike around him, which I think is fairly gained. Like he buried a lot of people in the early 2000s for his own benefit. But I think with age and maturity, like if there's one thing everyone says who goes to AEW about Triple H, it's that he was really supportive and was on board with the best decision for them. I think Triple H is a really good person in the wrestling world.
Yeah. And I don't disagree with that.
He has definitely booked himself. He's had some very long, lingering matches. Every so many of the WrestleManias we've watched these long entrances and then 30-minute matches that could have been 15 minutes. But I just love the guy still.
Anyway,
I have a lot of time for Triple H.
Me too.
Sorry.
And he's great in this match. Like, it's a great spine buster, one of my all-time favourite moves. Hits the pedigree, but Daniel Bryan manages to kick out for a great near fall.
Do in this match, he lands a tiger suplex. Have you ever seen him do that before? That's wild.
No. And he also, there was a great bit on the outside a little bit earlier, just jump a little bit earlier, where when he was targeting the arm, he wrapped Daniel's arm, like his left arm and shoulder behind him as he planted him on the apron. On the hardest part of the ring, guys. How did we miss that?
That's one of Naito's special moves. He calls it Valentina or something, but
so good.
It's just
looks
weird
harsh.
seeing Triple H do these weird New Japan hard style wrestling moves, right?
That's it. There was a couple of bits and I was like, this doesn't feel like Triple H.
Yeah, I think kind of Triple H felt comfortable enough in the ring to kind of go all out with Daniel Bryan. I think Daniel Bryan must have been like, do you know what, man? You hurt me. Go for it. Make it real.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, I think this is just such a good match.
One thing, John, before you get back onto the match, just because it's one of the only notes I made, and it's going right back to the start again, but the package for this was fucking great. I loved all the video package of Daniel Bryan in NXT and even Daniel Bryan before that, and then just showing the evolution. And it made me think, you didn't need to do the 5 episodes before this. You just had everything.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, Adam, actually, because that monster promo is, in my opinion, the best promo WWE have ever done. I still go back and watch it sometimes on YouTube. I just think it's so good.
Not the Rock Austin one from 17.
I think, as far as a video package goes,
one of the best, or one of your favourites.
Well,
You're
it's
doing
my
a John
favourite
here.
one by a long shot.
Okay. Okay.
I'm owning it. That monster promo, go and watch it on YouTube. It's amazing.
Anyway, should we talk about the ending, the last sequence? So Triple H goes for another pedigree, but Bryan reverses it and kicks Triple H in the head. Bryan goes for another big kick, but Triple H evades and tries to throw Bryan. Bryan evades that and then hits him with a running knee. 1, 2, 3. Daniel Bryan is our winner and entering the main event of WrestleMania.
Yes, so good.
So amazing. I love the fact that Triple H kicks out just after the 3 count. It really helps sell that whole underdog vibe to the whole thing.
Yeah, he won, but only just.
And of course, all the way through the match, we haven't really mentioned Stephanie with the trash talking and trying to support Hunter and calling him baby and stuff. And it's just perfect. She plays the role great. And then she gets in at the end, gives Bryan a few slaps, which he no-sells with a smile. And then Triple H gets a chair.
Yeah, attacks the shoulder with a chair.
Yeah.
And Daniel Bryan's out. Doesn't look too good for our champ. Well, hopeful champ. Spoilers.
Yeah. But all of like we've seen this so many times before. It's like, oh, there you go. Now he's got the injury. Okay, now we've got the reason why he's not going to win. You know. And, I just so wish I didn't know the result.
Yeah, because it really felt like they were laying everything on top of him so that it's not going to be his result, which is where I think the storytelling on this was awesome. They just piled everything on top of him so that he could not get this win.
Yeah. If there's one thing in wrestling that is better than anything, it is not knowing the result. Like, the moment something becomes predictable, doesn't matter if you love the wrestler or not, it's never going to be as good. They did the right level of kind of pushing back against Daniel Bryan to make it seem as if it might not happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, Adam, like the fact this went 20 odd minutes, it's just incredible. Considering the main event goes on for even longer.
Yeah, so he has 2 hours 18 minutes in between this match ending and the main event starting, and I'm thinking, how do you keep loose and nimble? Like,
what do you reckon he's doing? Ice bath, warm bath?
That's what I'm thinking. It must be
he's
like
just
an
jogging
ice bath,
around the
massaging.
Having a nice little chat with William Regal and Dean Ambrose in the back.
Yeah, thinking about something for the future. I just really try to work out
some pain injections, maybe.
He did take some massive bumps. He must be in some pain. Yeah,
he does. Like, there's one point where he jumps off the top of the turnbuckle and just does like a swanton dive kind of thing. Into
to the outside.
That landing, man, it's so brutal. Yeah. It's like right at the beginning of the match.
He'd probably have to have a little meal, a couple of chicken breasts as soon as he gets off.
He's definitely going to the buffet, definitely. Checking that out.
Massage,
I don't think he's eating chicken breast.
Well, maybe liquidized raw chicken breast. That might be.
No, I still don't think he's eating chicken, if I'm honest.
Oh, he's vegan, isn't he? Yeah. Was he then? Was he still then? Was he the world people's champ or world champ or whatever it is?
Yeah, he's definitely veggie.
Was being vegan a thing then?
He was vegan before the wooden belt stuff.
Yeah, because remember the whole Kane and Daniel Bryan in the diner?
Okay.
Brett, is wrestling, as you've trained as a wrestler, is wrestling a bit like swimming where you can't eat like an hour before you wrestle?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, cool.
I mean, it's probably wise not to,
advised. But I think that's a myth with swimming. I think that's a myth. I have 2 liquidized chicken breasts just before I swim every time I go.
Anyway, let's talk about the main event of WrestleMania. We'll go straight into it. Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton versus Big Dave Batista for the WWE Heavyweight Championship.
What an entrance from Randy, getting a live band. Who was it? Rev Theory. Really, he was belting it out. The veins were popping in the lead singer's forehead.
I had no idea it was a real band, like Randy Orton's theme song. I thought it was just generic WWE metal.
Yeah.
But it turns out it was just generic metal.
Do we all think it's a banger?
In wrestling context, as an entrance theme, I think it's banger. I'm not listening to it on Spotify outside of that context.
I really liked his theme before that Burn in My Light one. So this one's always a bit slow.
No, me either. Sing it.
Oh, it's very good.
He's trying to think of it. Listen,
I thought
he's got his eyes closed. He's looking up.
I was thinking, do you know what? I was about to sing it, and then I was just, I hear voices in my head. Wait, hold on a second. No, I can't sing it. Burning My Light is really good.
Okay.
I will check it out afterwards. Anyway, Bryan comes out. He's looking hurt, and the commentators are sort of letting us know that he's not in peak physical condition.
Yeah, you see Daniel Bryan favoring the left arm. He's hurt. There's no way that he can be 100% for this match after the beating by Triple H earlier tonight. The kid's got guts.
Then Big Dave Batista comes out. No one cares. Complete silence.
Good shoe game.
I think I like
the
Dave
shoe game.
Batista.
Nice back tattoo.
I like Dave Batista post wrestling.
Yeah.
When he started being an actually decent actor.
Ooh,
Do you know what? Like, there's some wrestlers who you love them at the time, and as time goes on, you learn to hate them. Like Kane and his crazy political views. There are some wrestlers who you dislike at the time, and then over time you start to love them, like John Cena or Batista.
Yeah, Cena's a great example, I think. Yeah. Anyway, so the match starts. Bryan starts really hot with a knee to Orton. Batista goes for a powerbomb, but Bryan reverses that and goes on to kick Orton. Bryan tries to kick Orton again, but Orton reverses that and slams Bryan's shoulder into the mat. This sort of makes Bryan go out of the ring for a bit. We have a lot of Batista-Orton action. They're fighting on the outside. Orton slamming Batista into the metal steps. Metal steps actually play a big part in this match. They're used a lot. Bryan comes back into the things with hitting double missile drop kicks and then doing double yes kicks on both Orton and Batista at the same time, which is quite cool.
I did wonder if we were going to get a lot of Daniel Bryan just being on the outside injured, and a lot of like us trying to make us believe that he just wasn't really going to be a player in this, but he actually was, wasn't he? There were a couple of periods where he wasn't, but he really was. It's just amazing what he did.
I think to me, he kept on getting knocked out of it for a little bit, but then suddenly he just pinged back up, and when he pinged back up, he was flying in as well. So it wasn't like he was just slowly coming in. Suddenly it was like a little missile had been fired.
That's true.
I really like that about this match, though. I think kind of that's the whole narrative of the match, is you've got these two juggernauts in Randy and Batista who kind of think they should be in the main event fighting each other, and you've almost got this annoying little brother character in Daniel Bryan who's wanting to get involved, but it turns out that the little brother is actually an absolute psychopath who will throw himself at you as hard as you possibly can. And it all builds really nicely as well. Randy and Dave Batista really play their part with this match, kind of going from annoyed with each other to annoyed with him, and eventually beat the living crap out of him.
So Orton slams Bryan and then sort of suplexes Batista. But while he's suplexing Batista, Daniel Bryan runs up onto the turnbuckle and hits a frog splash onto Orton and puts him straight into the yes lock. And it looks like Orton's going to tap out. And just at that moment, Triple H comes running down and yanks the referee out of the ring.
Which was great.
Absolute piece of shit.
With the old tracksuit top and a towel, like the Moustache Mountain look. I did wonder what he was wearing at one point. I was like, what the hell's going on there? Has he put a suit and tie on or something?
Yeah, it did look a bit weird, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's definitely trailing behind him.
Yeah, that was perfect.
It was.
In the confusion, Batista hits Bryan with a spine buster. One of the best spine busters in the business, Batista.
Yeah.
Then our old friend, the crooked ref, Scott Armstrong, appears as a callback to Night of Champions 2014 or the Trilogy episode or Follow the Feud.
Nice.
He's there to do a fast count. Batista hits Bryan with another Batista bomb just as the referee counts, but Bryan kicks out at 2. Everyone's in hysterics. The Authority are pissed off. And while this is happening, Bryan kicks Scott Armstrong out of the ring. While the Authority, for some reason, Authority really care about Scott Armstrong. They're all gathering around him to make sure he's okay. I'm not sure why.
It's a valuable
Road Dogg's
asset.
brother.
Oh.
There we go. Anyway, this allows Bryan to hit a tope onto the Authority.
So cathartic.
Yeah, it's a nice moment, that.
And actually, it looks like Steph does take quite a bat, or I think, is it the ref lands on her ankle and she's got high heels on, and it looks like she takes a bit.
She rolls her ankle there, doesn't she? Yeah, because again, it really plays into like how mad Triple H is after this, seeing Stephanie there.
Steph's great throughout this.
Oh, she really is underrated.
Yeah. Anyway, at this moment, sort of Batista and Orton start to join forces, and they target Bryan's shoulder by throwing him into the steps.
Yes, I love it when they join up and they sort of have the little face to face.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to kiss, though, right?
It does.
So
very similar heights and sort of body shapes.
They look very similar as well. They could be brothers, really.
So, in my head with this match, like I almost kind of like, I was like putting this narrative together where I was watching it, and I was just like kind of like, at first,
what
it's
if they kissed?
They're all kind of going. What if they kissed?
I thought that was the narrative.
Fan fiction.
Oh yeah. Let's not go down that road again.
What if they had kissed? How would
Have you still got that around somewhere,
WrestleMania
Sam?
Yeah.
Which erotic fan fiction?
Was it a Charles Xavier one? I remember next.
There was an X-Men one, definitely.
Yeah, I wrote an. Yeah, cool. That's on the podcast now. So like, there's this whole narrative in the match of like, kind of, it's a triple threat, all that. And the moment after Daniel Bryan does Tope Suicida into the whole authority, it's almost like kind of Randy Orton and Batista are just like, for the greater good of WWE and the established kind of like way things are, we're going to now work together against Daniel Bryan. And it's it's really good. Adam's losing his shit.
Because Brett was laughing. Brett was like trying to hide a laugh, and then I was enjoying it, and I was waiting for him to come back. And now he's like, we're just thinking about your X-Men fan fiction.
I don't know what I was thinking of.
No.
Your erotic fiction.
I was just looking away, trying to let it pass. You were continuing like a professional, Sam, and then I came back, and then I could see Adam straight away, and I was like, "No, I know, I'm gone."
Trying to podcast, talk about wrestling, and you guys can only think about Charles Xavier, Wolverine, and Gambit.
We used to pod without the video. My God,
all male or
good times.
I'm glad it's got Gambit in it though, because he was the best.
Gambit in it, yeah, right.
Wow. Is this the basis of the new Disney 90s X-Men cartoon that they're making?
Yeah, Sam's a script consultant on it.
X-Men.
I hope so. I reckon this could be a new like audio fiction pod. Come on.
Anyway, back to the match. So
I didn't listen to any of Sam's point, by the way.
Randy and Batista have joined forces, and they do like a Batista bomb into an RKO on Daniel Bryan.
This was
through
amazing.
The table.
Yeah,
so good.
See Randy Orton though
landing on there.
He landed on the steel monitor that was underneath and cut his back up.
Yeah.
I was just like, watched that a few times because I was like, he definitely landed on it.
I kept on rewinding to see how it connected, where it hit. But that's got to be one of the greatest spots in WrestleMania history. It's so fucking
good.
Cool. It worked perfectly. It just
really good.
It just looked so good. Batista bomb into the RKO.
But
Daniel Bryan.
Dead. He was dead after that spot. Absolutely dead. So the medical staff come down to take his body away. Meanwhile, back into the match, Batista starts to dominate Randy. But Randy gets battled into the match with a draping DDT. All while this is going on, Daniel Bryan's getting stretchered out. Like he's going up the ramp.
Neck brace.
And this is where my memory of it is completely wrong. Because in my memory, he actually leaves.
Right.
In my head, like the way I remember for ages.
Gets buried.
Yeah. at least goes like past the Tron, like up the ramp to the backstage area is how I remembered it. And then he comes running back. Wait, that doesn't happen.
You're probably thinking of like numerous Royal Rumbles when someone like gets stretched out and then they come back in at the end.
Yeah.
That's a trope.
Remember that good old, what was it, the Randy Orton one? He came in early doors and then came out with neck breaks. Yeah. Came back. You're mistaking Daniel Bryan for Randy Orton again, John.
Happens all the time, yeah.
But in reality, he doesn't even get to, like, it's the bottom of the ramp. And then he's like, fuck this. I'm getting off.
He gets off the stretcher.
No, and he's shaking everything off. And he's
crawling on the floor as well towards the ring.
Like, you've got a suspected broken neck. I don't care. It's mad because I always think that no matter what, okay, he's not injured enough to be on that stretcher, but he's just taken that bump. He's had a half-hour match before. I'd like, how do they do it? It's the adrenaline in the crowd.
Oh,
Well,
yes,
I mean-
he's got the worst bump to come, I think.
I say slight spoilers. He does end up losing about 5 years of his career.
Yeah,
Okay, fair enough.
from a Batista spear.
Oh yeah, well, let's get to Randy Orton welcomes Daniel Bryan back into the match by throwing him into the steps again. Then goes for
lovely.
an RKO, but Bryan reverses it into a yes lock, which Batista breaks up. So that leads Bryan to put Batista into the yes lock, but Orton breaks that up. And just as Batista goes to spear Orton, but Orton jumps over it, and so Batista goes underneath Orton and spears Daniel Bryan into the corner. This allows Orton to hit the RKO on Batista for a near fall. But rather than going for the kill while Batista is down, Orton delays, allowing Daniel Bryan to hit him with a running knee. Seeing his chance, Batista throws Daniel Bryan out the ring, covers Orton for another near fall.
That was great because the crowd did not like that.
Really,
Yeah.
I was so convinced. I remember when I was watching this that this was the end of the match.
Yeah, me too.
And like realistic as well. It's like, well, no, fuck that. You do that. I'll take this pin. Because I love that interplay when you've got a triple threat. It's difficult. They so often will have one person not involved. But this little section where all three of them are involved worked really well.
So to try and finish the match, Batista hits Orton with another Batista palm. Then out of nowhere, Bryan hits Batista with a running knee, whacks him straight into the yes lock, and he taps. Daniel Bryan is our heavyweight champion.
And now Batista looking for the Batista bomb to put Randy Orton away. And with the championship, there's the Batista bomb. Daniel Bryan, Daniel Batista, Daniel Batista, Daniel Batista. Come on, Bryan. Come on, Bryan. Yes, Lord. Come on, Daniel. Come on, Daniel. Tap out Batista. Tap out Batista. Tap out Batista. No way. Batista's going to tap. Batista's going to tap. He did it. He did it. You got to be kidding me. The Miracle King. The Miracle King. A miracle on Bourbon Street.
Incredible scenes.
Incredible scenes. Like one of the best title celebrations ever. Like confetti, crowd are going crazy.
Yeah,
Daniel
it looks
Bryan's
great.
obviously quite emotional.
I just think it's so amazing how each member of the crowd at the front there have all at home printed out the exact same yes. The same font size on the same sheet of paper. It's amazing, isn't it, the coordination? Am I being
I didn't even
cynical?
notice
Or
that.
one person just printed a bunch of them out.
Oh,
Put them out.
WWE fucking put them on the chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what I reckon.
I used to
happened.
do that with what is it, the Cesaro section.
Yeah, it's annoying when you see that with loads of people with the same sign and it's just an A4 sheet of paper. It's like, don't force it. Although it did look good having all the yes signs there.
It did. And he earned it. They made him work for this win.
Fuck yeah.
Good
And-
match. Great main event, I think. Really
and
good.
At the end there,
I
go on.
preferred, as a wrestling match, I preferred the first match of the
Agreed,
night.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, same.
Story-wise, the second match did even surpass the first one, just because everything that was going on, and and the fact that we skipped past it. Batista speared Daniel Bryan in the head. He didn't get his gut. He speared him in the head, knocking him, practically knocking him out. I was just like, oh my days. That looks so... that rewound that one a few times as well.
And actually, I've just remembered that one thing I wrote down in the first match was a clothesline from Triple H. There was a clothesline that takes Bryan out, and that one's around the face as well. So he really does fucking take it on this night. It's mad. He earns it. He earns it and loses part of his career, livelihood, and memory.
Yeah.
Who the hell comes out to celebrate with him?
Oh, I didn't... I was meant to look this up. I completely
A blonde
forgot.
Is that
child
like a sister?
So,
Must be a sister.
I think it was his sister.
and his
Yeah.
mum.
What?
and his mum.
Daughter?
I think it was
So
No.
sister and her
his
daughter.
sister and his niece.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
it was.
Oh,
Because Daniel Bryan since has spoken
I
that
see.
he was upset that Brie Bella couldn't come out to celebrate with him.
Oh, why was she not allowed out? Do you know?
Because at the time it wasn't
Kayfabe, I'm guessing.
established, that those two were a couple and the Bella
Right.
twins were not anywhere close to.
well, I think the woman looks quite old. I thought, okay, maybe it is his sister. If you guys know that,
I
But
thought it was first
is
wife
this-
when I first saw it.
So did I. I was like, was he
Yeah.
married before?
Yeah.
Why is she so old? And who's this other child? But yeah, It ruined it. It ruined the whole moment.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know that. I thought it was his sister.
I guessed it was
niece.
the sister. He's got siblings, hasn't he? So I was just like, must be.
Okay. I'm going to Google it, as I like to do, and John can keep talking about it.
Well, any final thoughts before we talk about the epilogue or about the matches?
I don't love this match as a wrestling match. Like, I think it's got a lot of good individual moments, but I think it's quite slow and methodical and a little bit plodding. But as a story, I love this match, and I love this Mania, to be honest.
That's the thing. I actually like, even though I know Daniel Bryan's in it, a triple threat with Orton and Batista, I was like, I am not going to enjoy this.
Yeah, that's fair.
But because of all the story, and because like every time Daniel Bryan interjected himself, it was at pace, so he brought pace every time, which is nice because it's slow and ploddy, and then like bam, sped it up.
I can confirm it was his sister and his niece. His mum was there but decided not to get in the ring, so there we go.
Wow.
Yeah,
cool. Okay, well, post WrestleMania.
So he killed it.
Yeah, he did. Total
Totally killed it. The listeners needed to know.
The feud would initially continue post WrestleMania, with Triple H putting himself into a title match against Bryan on the Raw after Mania. And authority goons of Orton, Batista and Kane would soften up Bryan before the match. But the actual match would end with a no contest when the Shield interfered and chased Triple H, Orton, Batista and Kane out of the arena. So Bryan would successfully defend his title against Kane, who is now actually back in the mask, no longer Corporate Kane. Yeah, shame. At Extreme Rules, the pay-per-view after WrestleMania. But shortly after this, announced that he would need neck surgery after apparently he lost all strength in his right arm.
Oh dear.
He was stripped of the title by the Authority, ending his third reign as champion at 64 days. Cena would win the vacated title at Money in the Bank at the end of June. So at the time, a lot of people thought that the surgery Daniel Bryan needed on his neck would actually end his career, as after the initial surgery, he still didn't have the strength back in his right arm. He was going to have a second bout of surgery, but instead had some crazy muscle therapy, which seemed to fix his arm. And although he returned to TV in November, he didn't return into the ring until January 15th, 2015. So he was out of action for a long time.
Yeah.
He entered that year's Rumble, but was quickly eliminated by Bray Wyatt. And he was actually put into the main event of Fastlane against Roman Reigns.
So, do you know a funny story about this? Is that this whole pay-per-view was made, like this whole Fastlane pay-per-view was made because of the vitriolic reaction to Roman winning that Royal Rumble the year before, and people thinking Daniel Bryan should have won it. So they literally made this whole Fastlane pay-per-view to kind of legitimise Roman kind of being the top player by going up against Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, because the winner would face Brock at WrestleMania. I completely forgot about Roman Reigns at that Rumble.
Meanwhile, fast forward to present day, and who's just come back to face Roman
God,
Reigns in the next pay-per-view? Brock fucking Lesnar.
Anyway, obviously Daniel Bryan didn't win that match, so didn't face Brock Lesnar in the main event of WrestleMania, but went on to win the Intercontinental Championship at Mania in the ladder match, which actually gave him the Grand Slam. The Glam Slam is something very
Beth Phoenix went in and gave him the Glam Slam afterwards.
I think it's
the Grand
Slam.
Which was every active title.
Nice.
So that match at Mania 31, the Intercontinental title ladder match, I think he gets injured in that match, taking a huge bro kick from Sheamus as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, massive one.
Well, his last match, or at least during this one, was actually not long after Mania on April the 16th, when he teamed up with John Cena to defeat Cesaro and Tyson Kidd. After this match, Bryan was pulled from TV and live events as a precautionary measure. But it wasn't until May that Bryan announced that he had an MRI scan and would be out for a while. And in July, it was announced that these issues were related to concussions that he'd received over the years. And it wasn't until February of 2016 that Bryan officially retired. He didn't appear on, he didn't have any matches post that 16th match, and all the way until February when he actually announced his retirement. on an episode of Raw in his home state of Washington.
I remember that. It's so
Oh
shit that
my
I
God,
really
I cried
did.
so much at that. Oof.
I really did start getting into wrestling literally just after this WrestleMania. Why couldn't I have done it a couple of months earlier?
It's not all bad news though. He would make his in-ring return in 2018, teaming up with Shane O'Mac at WrestleMania.
Not all bad news, except for teaming up with Shane.
And obviously he went on to do loads of other stuff after that, but that's different times.
I mean,
There we go.
that's kind of mad because I always thought that the gap between him retiring and coming back to wrestling was massive.
Yeah.
It was only 2
Yes,
years.
Yeah.
I thought it was longer as well.
Me too.
Wow, that's
Me too.
amazing. I thought it was at least 4, but there we go.
Yeah,
Um,
time's a weird thing.
Yeah.
In conclusion.
After seeing those 2 matches, though, not surprised that stuff happened.
Oh, even all the matches we've seen, he takes so many bumps on his head and like the flying headbutts. And,
Yeah. And right now, again, when we come to the present day, is he injured? Is he not going to be having his match with Zack Sabre Jr.?
Yes, apparently there's going to be an announcement tomorrow, right? I think
Okay.
on Dynamite.
So this will automatically be out of date when this episode gets released. So
I was
cool.
really excited about that because I haven't seen a Zack Sabre match in years.
Nor have I. And
No.
of all the matches to see, that would be amazing. I can't wait.
the thing is that like, as far as the long haul goes, the Daniel Bryan we have at the moment, or the Bryan Danielson, or whatever he's going with, is amazing. He is on the absolute top of his game, and
Yep.
every match I'm watching, I'm just like, I'm so invested in his character at the moment.
Yeah.
Something about him, right?
Um,
He's got a bit of the CM Punk about him, where you just kind of like
Yeah.
believe in him.
I
he's legit.
legitimately think he is a AEW future champion without a shadow of a doubt.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I think he's going to be such a banging champion because I think he's probably the best wrestler in the world at the moment.
There we go. So it's nice to know that it didn't all go to shit after this incredible feud, one of the best feuds of all time, and our first ever subject matter for Follow the Feud, John's very first mini-series on Hardest Part of the Ring. Congratulations, John. It was fucking great.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
So much work.
Glad it's over.
Sam was
Oh,
going
we
to
are
do.
clapping.
Yeah, Sam was going to do some clapping.
Very
You
polite.
put a lot of work into that, John. Getting the clips and stuff like that, and doing all the research and writing out like some script and bits and bobs. So telling us what to watch.
What was weird is that this last episode was the least amount of work, but it felt like the most effort. It was weird.
Yeah. Anyway, well, let's wrap up that nicely, and then we'll come back after a short break and we'll discuss what's coming up for the pod, how to get in touch, stuff like that.
Now they're on the ring apron.
This is a dangerous spot in the ring, Morrow. The hardest part of the ring, nothing but steel underneath their feet.
Okay, next podcast might be a Forbidden Door review. There's chat in the WhatsApp about it. Sam's kind of up for it. John might be tempted. I'm kind of tempted, but I think I probably won't. But it depends how long it is. If it's 4 hours,
Yeah.
I almost definitely won't. Brett, what
What's
do you
the
reckon?
card? Is the card announced yet?
Well, how soon is it?
It's this weekend. I think.
Definitely
it's
want
this
to watch
weekend.
it.
Well, then
Definitely
you-
want to watch it.
Oh, if we said
Forbidden
definitely
Door
won't.
card.
Here we go.
Here we go. Oh, Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy.
Oh, really? Is that
That's
what
going
they've gone
to be a
for?
really interesting match.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because Orange Cassidy is a good wrestler.
Yeah.
He obviously plays the comedic part.
Yeah.
but I think this is going to be really good.
It's a shame because watching Ospreay on Rampage the other night, it's like there's so many other people I'd prefer to see him up against, but that's all right.
Winner takes all for IWGP and Ring of Honor World Tag Championships. So that's going to be FTR versus United Empire versus Roppongi Vice.
Interesting.
Not
Not too
I
fast.
think FTR are going to win that. Trios match we can probably pass on. That's fine.
Yeah. What are the highlights? What are the big guns? Okada Mox, is that happening? I don't actually know anything.
So this
really.
is not. So this is not New Japan versus AEW, but Thunder Rosa versus Tony Storm.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good.
Okay. Why is that happening there?
Tasty. Moxley
so no
versus
women.
Tanner.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I imagine there might be a pod because I reckon if you watch it, then you're going to want to do it. Even if it's a mini one. We've done mini reviews before. Do you remember Sam and I used to do some mini NXT reviews in the past? They're fun.
Yeah, I think John and me have done a mini AEW one before.
I think you have actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So hopefully we'll be back with that. But if not, I don't know what else is scheduled at the moment. I don't know if there's any WWE stuff we're going to want to talk about. Obviously, there's always potential for top fives. Obviously, the undertaking is something we all want to do. But I think in general, we might end up, we took 3 weeks between this episode. You might start seeing a bit of that, a bit more. We might take an extended break. I don't know, but you can keep up to date with us on social media, and we'll probably let you know what's happening there. Or you can email us. Brett, can you remember? It's been so long. How do you do it? How do people get in touch or keep up to date with what's happening?
Well, as long as you don't delete it off the running order. They can send their emails to hardestpartofthering@gmail.com, or you can find us on Instagram and Twitter. We are at hardestpartpod. And if you like what we do, you can, I don't know what you call it. You can buy us a coffee.
Donate to the show.
Donate.
You can give us a tip. You can donate. You can buy us a coffee on ko-fi.com/HPOTR.
For 5 years, we have paid for hosting of the website. For 5 years, Sam has paid for the WWE Network. For a number of, for a lot of that time, I paid for Pivot Share for Progress. John's paid for NJWP World. Brett hasn't paid for much, I don't think. Have you paid for anything, Brett?
NJPW World and Progress.
Oh, and Progress as well. Wow. Those were the days.
Brett pays with his artwork. He uses his livelihood.
That's also true. We use the Adobe Creative Suite to edit our podcast, which none of us use for anything else apart from the podcast. So if you want to chip in, do. If you're a new listener, like Brett's mum, we found out before the pod, and you want to get involved, then you can make a donation there. Hardest Part of the Ring isn't going anywhere, but we just might not be as prolific for a bit, I think, is what we're saying. Is that fair?
We have a busy summer coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hot boy summer, and we're going to be out there on the beaches in our mankinis doing our things. So, yeah. Thanks very much for listening, everybody. Thank you once again to John for doing a great job on Follow the Feud and for picking such a great feud. Maybe we'll do another feud. In that intro video, there were some classic ones. The intro music, there's some classic feuds, so maybe we'll do another one at some point. But until the next episode, it's goodbye from me, Adam. Goodbye to you, Sam.
The sensual tones of Logan's voice rumbled through Xavier's body.
He's found it.
Oh my, he exclaimed. You got adamantium in that bone too, he added.
It's goodbye
Logan
from John.
chuckled. Want to find out, bub?
Goodbye, John. Please say goodbye,
Logan
John.
ripped off his yellow spandex, Hulk Hogan style.
It's goodbye from
before
Brett.
Advancing on Xavier.
Goodbye. I love that he's leading
Logan.
into it.
That was
the mask on.
the hardest part
Literally.
of the ring.
That is the hardest part of that ring. On the hardest